there. So I wanted to share the experience with everybody. Check it out. I don't get trapped in it. I don't get trapped in it at all. I got a big old. It's not like a dense, interlocking, impossible. I had to pull out. I had to start at the root and just pull out individual hairs for a month straight because they were so woven together, and then unwoven, wrapped around, and then rewoven all together, hundreds and hundreds of hairs forming this giant mass of clumps in the back of my head, which felt really nice spiritually. It felt like I had sort of a grounded, protected sense of self. Oh, really quick. Oh, society, getting a job, building an empire, all this stuff feels really dark, right? And when you get employed, it feels like you get stuck into something you don't want to be a part of. And life becomes suffering, and just suffering and suffering. And you're supposed to build on top of it, build up until you have an amassed amount of power and wealth, and then you can exercise it and impose your will over the land. That comes from Saturn worship. Saturn, if you look at it, it's got that black hexagon at the top. What the hell? The United States government just shut down my phone. Isn't that weird? I have 4 bars of service. The cell tower is right there. Isn't that weird? I'm glad I'm a tortured, brainwashed loser schizophrenic, or they might fucking kill me. The bird has approacheth. Hey guys, I just tried to give you some secrets of society that would help you break free and find God, and then they shut down my phone. And now my bird friend has approached to come protect me like it does every weekend from the crows. Oh, and there's something big. Oh, there's just something huge in the forest right here. What is this sudden loud footsteps? Oh, there's a lot of them. Uh-oh. The bird is protecting me. I was just explaining to you guys that the government built its entire structure off of Saturn worship, the black cube, Mecca. And I was going to get into how everything in the world is based around the inversion of God so that they could impose their will on you and stop you from getting to God so they can harvest as much power as they can from you. And when we put our trust in God, it means that they're banking our spiritual life force energy in God's creation. They're harvesting the dirt that we're made of and collecting as much of it as they can, running their bloodline, which is how their spirit stays on earth, through the portal that is our bloodline, the same way we can all communicate with our ancestors. Ancient beings are keeping the bloodlines because that's how those ancient beings can stay in this realm with all their wealth. And all these rituals, like baseball, football, the employment process, and everything that has to do with white people in general, comes from that ancient cult that split off into Judaism, Muslim, and Christianity. And then those oligarchs, or whatever you call them, the top of those religions, spread out, diverted each other, mass sacrificed each other in fake wars. Like this. Think about this like this. And you were to fold it, so you fold the 2 sides of the cross, the top of the cross, the bottom of the cross, and then with that little excess bit that's longer, you just fold it over like this, and look, you have a cube. It's the black cube, it's Mecca, it's Trump Tower. They're all worshiping the same thing, which is the black star, like David Bowie's Black Star, which is the pentagram behind the Baphomet. The black sun. Black hole sun, won't you come? What do you want? Yep, there's just something right there. Why'd people leave when I tried to explain to them that Christianity, it's all just them winking at you? Because the trick is, they have to put it right in your face, so that will you be brave enough to reject their extensive levels of control over the human spirit? And then you can find the true God. It's just a society built off Capricorn. It's just one of the 12. A Capricorn society, the devil and tarot, the darkness. I'm sure. I mean, the indigenous called it the rainbow because they had all of them. But I'm sure there were other foundational societies back then that built their thing off Pisces. I'm seeing not the Hermit, the Hierophant right there, whatever Hierophant means. Hierophant-based societies. There were Aries-based societies and all this stuff. This is just Capricorn, which happens to be the worst. But I think Aries might be, I don't know. But yeah, as soon as I started to break through the simulation, now there's tons of different animals. Or animals. But there is a little bird that's going around chirping. And I don't trust it. I don't trust anything. But I know that the people that founded this country come from an ancient cult that goes way back before any religion, and that ancient cult built religion, and religion hasn't been around very long. Like, what, 40 to 60 people ago. So if you already have all this wealth and all this teaching just in a library, and you raised your children to that tradition, and you had all these different families that support that tradition, and you can't escape that tradition, you're born into that tradition, and they force you to do stuff, they rape you as a child when you're 11 years old, and you're forced, if you have a twin brother, or you have a brother, you have to watch your family kill that brother, like in Beau is Afraid by Ari Aster. You have to watch them kill the brother. And the brother goes as a sacrifice to the obelisk, or in Beau is Afraid, the giant dick in the attic, the monolith, the big phallus, the Holy Father. And then once you're 11 and you watch your brother get killed, raped, killed, and eaten, they eat him. Then they rape you when you're locked in this cave. When all this happens in a cave, they take you to a cave, like in Beau is Afraid. And then after 3 days, you're resurrected in Christ because of what you witnessed. The horrible things you endured connects you to God, obviously, because you're trying to find God in all of that disgusting shit. And then when you leave, now you're a leader. You're imbued with the right codes. And then they place you in a position of power, like a pope, or like a Charlie Kirk, or like Donald Trump. So as a 33 life path, did you hear that? Just right off in the distance over there. There's nothing over there. Basically, they said, and I've got every single day for the past 4 days at noon, I get recommended another video, and the picture on the thumbnail is of a crow. Loud noises are picking up, obviously, because I'm doing this. I'm transferring all this relationship energy that was used to rape my spirit every day. But because I've risen my vibration, now we have all these angry people that the devil is using to cause a distraction, to stop me from doing this. Just holding my hand up and attracting my converting to my 33 life path energy. This infinite abundance of compassion. As a divine child, here's another bird is here. Basically, they said I'm in a Truman Show that I chose because I'm not from this world, and this was like my creation. And it's a lot. It's like it's all about balance between the most and the least, the top and the bottom, the good and the bad, the dark and the light, the mother, the father, the man, the woman. Man, not mother and father, but really just man and relationship dynamics. I created a challenge about balance. Ooh, and that's why Sagittarius. Notice how that wasn't fake. I literally almost fell there. There's like a little dip right there. I literally almost fell, but came back. But yeah, it was 4 different crow videos in a row where they threw out the 33, and they were like, "What the fuck are you?" And they were describing how this horrific part of my life's journey was to help me understand humanity and how they really are, so that I can uncover the illusion that they've all built themselves into, the lies they tell, and something about they kept seeing the empty cabin. Like all 4 videos of people across the world all saw the cabin, and they described it as, I kept trying to fill it with things. I kept trying to fill it with boards and make it look nice. I kept trying to change it. But the point is that I was supposed to sit in an empty cabin with nothing. They kept saying that me trying hard to keep acquiring things to put in the cabin to make it better was a pitfall or a setback, when really nothing was supposed to be in the cabin, and the cabin was supposed to be empty and cleared of all the clutter and cleaned. But I kept trying to pull up and dip bar, get insulation boards, get this, when the whole point was to take it all out and have nothing. Because the point of this journey is to understand nothing. Isn't that cool? Oh, what the fuck was that? They try so hard. I'm sitting here, and there's just this horde of memories of the things I didn't like about people, their shitty personalities, and the things I didn't like, the way people acted to me that was so wrong and stupid. But it's always just flooding like an evil spell cast by an Aquarius. Isn't that weird? It's like an Aquarius Scorpio rising keeps casting these negative spells on me. And even just thinking is spell casting. Having thought forms is spell casting. Thinking of words is spell casting. The whole point of this Satanist matrix is to divert your focus, take away your brain so that you can't think, and then replace your thoughts with influences to add you as a battery into collective manifestation rituals. So everybody thinks they know everything. Huh? Clipped. I hope it's Heather and not my mom watching. Like 3 different people named Heather have hit me up today. And I watched like 2 tarot videos by Heather's. And I don't know what that means. Other than Heather is fabric. It does, I mean, Heather is like fabric with the design that makes it look like it's sparkling. I'm getting the word glamorous. And now they showed me the spell work that the community has done on me. So I was seeing all this weaving of the different threads of the universe around me, trying to weave itself into me. And I saw a lot of it was the negative intentions of white people. I heard the word Injun, and then I saw the college up there. So I was shown that the security there has a ritualistic practice in that institution to embed themselves in all of the children that they see on a daily basis. This constant cycling of youthful energy that gets destroyed in the college when they drink, and they're subjected to the Freemasonic institutionalized rituals that have been going on for thousands of years, and the kids are unwillingly getting destroyed and rebuilt as lifeless batteries for their matrix. Hear my bird? So a big part of what they've accidentally done on purpose, because they're not smart enough to do this themselves, but they've subjected themselves to employment and under the influence of their employers, and they're all fat and they all have vices, so I'm sure none of them are conscious in a way that isn't as a pedophile. They're conscious, but the only thing they're focused on doing is gaining enough mass to forcefully impregnate someone with their will, spiritually. So everything's going right to left. There was one bird, two bugs, and another bird farther over there, and I saw all of them at once line up in perfect synchronicity to shoot me with this confirmation, healing light. As I was saying that these hating ass lame bitches always on my dick, consistently thinking about me, using the new vessels of the Satanist cabal, keep pumping out the intention to destroy me. They constantly talk shit about me. And now the state of Vermont knows what Phil Scott has done to me through Facebook. Hey, look at that. Right where I said that the birds lined up in perfect synchronicity. What the f*** is that insectoid looking thing that got right in line with it all to help? And look, there's a parasite crawling out of a snail. That's fucking disgusting. That's like a hookworm crawling out of a host. Look at these aliens trying to teach me things. Because if they're huge, we would kill them. But yeah, that's literally a parasite that just crawled out of fucking a bug. And that sound, if you didn't hear it, was another bug jumping off of a tree branch and landing on a leaf. Because that's how those things get into us, is they get onto our shoulders. They try to get into our hair, and then they crawl in our mouth at night. Like how ticks jump off and embed themselves in us. Bugs, brain power is not relative to brain size. These little microchips can do so much, and quantum computers are the tiniest things. These bugs are a part of the simulation. I'm watching. You guys can watch. So I started to explain the truth about religion and how it's all controlled by the same cult that uses us and how they use us, and the entire world changed. And now the birds are here. These weird bugs are here. We just watched a snail crawl out of the snail and just crawl away. And now the bug is doing whatever it's doing. Every time I got to a high point, the angsty kids with their loud Subarus started to around me. And there were just some weird creatures in the woods that, if you notice, they disappeared. All of a sudden, there was like 5 or 6 large things stomping like deer, and then they just went dead silent. But there's no way for a deer to get here. It's all road over there, and then it's a hotel right there. The deer don't come this way. They go much further up, and they come around. So I don't know. But we're really just here to get the last bit of my hair. Look, all I have left is the tail. So I sat here for a month and did this. What else can I tell you? So I'm gonna wait for what exactly the black sun is, but it's enough for you guys to do your own research. Because that's what they worship. That's their god. That gives them power by enhancing this Capricorn Saturnian matrix. And there's a new society being built. I can see so clearly in the west, in the desert of like northern Arizona, like right in those 4 corners, in the plains. And it's an Aquarian civilization of the survivors of colonialism that have persevered for generations, for 300 years now. They've fought and survived and held on to their sacred teachings and worked with their ancestors, even though colonialism is still trying very hard to kill them with bioweapons, and they've destroyed their mountains that they used to use. So, you know what I'm saying? The devil's here, guys. It is 12:31 at night. There's no reason for anyone to be here. And they've come to hurt me. I'm here every day. I know who comes and goes. I've never seen this car before. Whatever they are, they're not here for me. But it's kind of weird where they parked and how they're not leaving the car. So I don't know. Kind of weird, huh? Just pretty weird. Pretty gang-stalking behavior. That business doesn't open till 10 a.m. tomorrow. And they do not unload the cars until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So for that guy to go he parked the only place in the parking lot with eyesight on me. There's a camera right here. So, and it was going left to right. But all cars have to go left to right to get in here. Either way, how do you break out? Donating to my Cash App. The only way to build wealth the right way in the Saturnian Capricorn matrix is not to work for those beings, those entities, those corporates, those conglomerates of the ancient evil. I learned the only good way to exchange money is with generosity. So the new world will be that we all make things and it's all shared. I make something of value. You like it. You share the resources. I obtain the resources. I use it to make something cooler. In exchange, that cooler thing somebody else likes. Bam! And it just goes on and on and on. At the same time, the earth will be producing things and we'll be using those things. And in exchange, we'll be doing things for the earth. It's that simple. And the person with the most stuff will carry a heavy burden. Because he'll be stuck in Capricorn, Black Sun, Saturn, Satan energy. Where the Aquarius will be free. The Sagittarius will be on an adventure. The Cancer will be making sure everything's okay. The Leo will be chilling and creating something. And so on. It won't rely so heavily on the necessity of constantly spreading their sex magic energy through the world. Suffering to gain Satan money, to spread that Satan money. Worried, and everyone's worried about money. Which is created by Capricorn, the Saturnian government. That goes all the way back to all the way back to ancient Egypt. And they still do those rituals. Baron Trump, the last president, came out 100 years ago, where Baron Trump's mentor, Don, is murdered in his tower on 5th Avenue, ending the republic, ending the country. That's this lifetime. They chose the correct actors to play the characters. They've set the ritual. Digital ID is coming out. And my mom still has not given me her portable power station. So this whole year, I was not able to do any time-lapse videos of me doing bushcraft in the woods and fixing up that cabin, which would have inspired so many people to get up and clean their space. Instead, I suffered to get these portable chargers, and then charging them gave me trauma. Trauma made me trapped, and I sat running in circles. Because she's possessed by, you guessed it, Satan, who covets and is obsessed with possession. So all they can think about is resources, greed. That's why they chose, and God placed Owen Mulligan in their life, so they literally had the option to see the truth or ride a pedophile's dick hoping that one day he might give them money. And they always chose, every single chance that they got their entire life, they chose the latter. And the only reason they're not dead is because it seems like me and God, like the higher version of myself, is sort of waiting on perpetuating their suffering because they still have karma. In karma, you have to meet you have to experience who you are. and who you were. So as you go through the end of a cycle of your life, the next cycle you will be forced to sort of be penetrated by the influence you had on others. You will have, like, let's say when I was 19, I was taken in, and the emotional cycle of that whole thing by the person that took care of me, the bad aspects of that weren't like extenuating circumstance, and it wasn't that person's bias. The thing that I did to him, not the overarching complex narrative, but the karma that I did, the things that I could have done better, that were my fault, I experienced when I took in John Michael in the next cycle. John Michael was an energy vampire that would brag about how he was stealing my life from me. He was becoming me. And he would leave me lifeless in my apartment, and he would walk around town as me, because he said he stole me from myself, and now he was going to be me and walk around town as me. And when he died, everyone at the funeral, all they talked about was their experiences with him after they met me, and not before, when he was a different person, before he lost himself to drugs and got consumed by the black sun, and then came to me as a demonic force, possessed. They spoke about all the good things that were mine. They spoke about how much they loved me through him. So then when it was my turn to get on the podium, and I stood there, there was this huge clique where everyone from my past that had ostracized me because they were jealous, and they left me to die alone and cold, and they cast me out when there was no reason to. I wasn't weird. I wasn't a criminal or a drug addict or mean. Everyone thought I was funny. But I would just activate my light all the time, and I had no idea what that was. And I knew that it made everyone upset. I would just be standing there, and I could see that everybody would get extremely mad. So they don't even know why they did it, but they did it. So that John Michael's funeral, when I got on the podium and they all saw me, I saw it click. I saw them all realize that they were worshiping the corpse of somebody that embodied the exact characteristics they saw in me before they killed me, socially and spiritually. And then I went like this. And I felt it all come back to me, which was really cool. And then I had to carry my good friend that I loved into the hearse, and I was the last one to touch his coffin. And I was the last one with him at the end of his life. I was the last friend he had before he died. I was the last person to sit with him at his open casket, other than his mother. And I failed him. But it wasn't my fault. I instilled enough in him that he had the potential and chance to do greater. And he chose drugs. He chose crack, man. He chose crack. So now, God is just telling me, he tells me patience and self-care, and don't take life too serious, but also make sure you live up to your potential. But when it comes to dealing with the people here, and how obvious the separation is, where everywhere I walk, it's like I'm destroying everything in a better way. Like my way is better. It's not like I'm burning it down and they're suffering. It's like everywhere I go, I'm destroying their horrible piece of shit place by bursting through all the threads. And I can see obviously that my natural aura and energy is just different. And that's why I have to have handlers that are always casting spells on me. But God just says to watch the show. They're going to put on a show for me about how they guillotine Planet Hank and my mom and my dad and my cousin and my aunt and my other cousin and Rowan and the woman at the barn and all the people who leached my energy and all the people who made up lies about me to turn my image like a voodoo doll, and then they all took turns emotionally raping it in conversation. They're going to die, and they're going to the Black Sun. At the end of Revelations, Jesus says that he's Lucifer. I don't know if you picked up on that. But Jesus literally says at the end, he goes, I am Lucifer, by the way. So I really don't know. It seems like there's a connection you can have with God. And there's all sorts of different lights. And it's really hard to figure out if God would even show up as light. Because Lucifer shows up as light. He shows up as the trumpets. But also God shows up as the trumpets. And Jesus says he's Lucifer in Revelations. Is that the awakening where you realize that, here's the bird on my right, that there was no such thing as separation, and that was the age of Pisces, and it was just God splitting himself to play characters in a petri dish experiment of our collective consciousness? But a shooting star just said, no. I don't know. But it was really fun to shit on everyone on Facebook for months, because I like to feel the changes. So I would smoke a bunch of cigarettes, and I would sit there angry, and I would intellectually cunning punch a bunch of these fat colonizer cunts until they stopped responding. But it wasn't like a troll. It was like the ultimate form of conversation that turned their culture back on themselves. So in order to speak to me, they had to confront the things that I hated about them. You know what I mean? So, let's pack my bags. Because the cops are here. To do what? Oh, they're saying to set up a phone to clip farm. Oh, there's conveniently something right there. Okay. Maybe they just decided to come in 12 hours early to unload the trucks. Baboon is out. Can't be after midnight. It's like 10 o'clock, right? It is. It's 1 in the morning. Okay. Well, let's go for a walk. It's just unusual. Because this has never happened before and there's no holidays. But that was a cop car. I don't know why they're here. There is a cop here. Not that I'm really doing anything wrong, because, I mean, last year the owner said I could be here. The new owner seemed like my existence made him angry. But he never told me to leave. He just said, get your Walmart order as fast as possible, and if you can meet him off the property, that'd be great. And I'm like, one, you don't have any business. I'm not scaring away customers. Two, your employees are fucking freaking out at the sight of me. What the fuck is the issue? I said, I'm picking up a Walmart order. What's wrong with you guys? They're staring at me like I was a monster. Just out the window. Like a bunch of middle-aged women flipping the fuck out because my Walmart order came to this address instead of the park and ride. It was so weird. Like, I can't wait for all of these people to die. And the new generation of the kids they failed to raise takes over. Just make sure it's better than we found it. That's good. That's good. On the ground here. Yeah, it all looks good. Okay. I'm kind of disappointed. I was expecting the GoFundMe to go further. I was expecting like everyone to, when I finally buckled down and actually asked for help. I was expecting everyone to be like, I'm glad you finally did it. I make $4,000 a month. Why not just give them $250? I was expecting like 7 people to do that, and then I'd have enough to do something. But I didn't ask before because I wasn't thinking. And to be fair, you guys don't know what it's like. It wasn't like anxiety disorder. It was every day my life was being threatened and there was nowhere I could go. And I was on a time limit. And I was just slowly watching everyone I love get destroyed. So I had an obligation to hold on to something that was constantly under attack. They were trying to, and they still are, and they don't stop. They actually have gotten much worse. It just happens less because there's less of me here. but sometimes I can dig into the space and I can get a little bit close to where it was. And I did learn skills. So I wrote in my notebook a list of what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to wake up. So if I can manage to hold on to my focus, regardless, I'm going to clean a little bit of space. I'm going to clean the mold off the ground. And I'm going to move everything up to the back corner. And I'm going to open the door. And I'm going to sweep everything out. Then I'm going to measure the length of the door. And I'm going to start sawing notches into the fallen trees so that I can cut them. And then I'm going to disassemble pallets. And I'm going to nail those pallets to the thick logs and build some doors. And then eventually I will build windows that open. And then, but for now I'm just putting the notches in. Then I'm going to start shoveling the trash into the pit. And then I'm going to re-rake because all the leaves have fallen now up on the mountain. It gets to last night it was 40. It's going to get freezing. There's already snow on the taller mountains. I'm assuming I'm going to get snow first. Then I'm going to have 3 coats. The big one I'm going to put my important stuff in. The slightly smaller one I'm going to put my laundry in. And the other smaller one I'm going to put like the miscellaneous stuff I want to take with me that don't necessarily need. And then in my big pile of trash, I'm going to throw the rest of it that I don't need. And then I'm going to focus on just doing what I said I was going to do in April, which is sweep the entire cabin, empty it out completely so there's nothing in there. And I'm going to polish it, if I get money, paint it, so that the mold is less. So, I could walk down to that other building. Away then at night, after I've done all that. I can't wait till I have like 150 people watching. And I'm actually doing things. And I can make content. I have a cameraman. And I've got people that I like. And we're just having fun like the FaZe Clan. They're too loose. But they can't buy them because they need the magnums. They can't just buy the Trojans, they have to buy the magnums. Because it makes them feel better at the gas station when they buy them. And they have to tell everyone they're buying the magnums. I've heard so many stories about guys that do that. What the fuck is this? Well, there's already a pile of trash. Why not throw a little bit more in there? We can walk around the park and ride for a second. Yeah, I think my biggest mistake in my life so far has been telling my mother about my YouTube channel. Nothing good ever came from it. The worst thing you can do is talk to my mom at all. sock. Let's see. I'll take a walk around. There's nobody here. The legendary Park and Ride. Let's see if there's any needles like there was last year. Looks like they've been cleaned. From what I can see, but there's definitely a bunch of needles. Down the road here we have shitty graffiti. That's what kids do. That way 6 goes. No, it's like a lowercase b. Here's socks. This actually seems kind of expensive. It's so much different now that my world is bigger. When I got here, I was just a tiny little animal hiding in a body, hiding in a nest, hiding in a car. And the world was up against me, attacking me all the time. My whole world was that car. Like the concept of just walking over there to the cabin was like Homer's Odyssey. MP plus AR forever. I was the reason that we don't have outlets here. Because I parked my car. Some drug addicts offered to fix my car up enough to move it over to here. So I had my car parked here. It seems like a whole different universe. Oh, I just got hit with a wave of memories that showed me all the demonic attachments that I have that were trying to keep me from my safe place. They were trying to destroy my core. And they don't just go away. It's not something you can walk away from. It's like, no matter where you go or what you do, those things are there. But I was just reminded why I spent so much money on McDonald's when I got it, because it would amplify that little signal fire inside that with more stuff would become my safe place in my spirit. And then eventually I could grow it to a castle. And when I would grow it to a castle, that's when I would start to get attacked by people here. I don't want to bother nobody. It's just cool to come back after a long journey. If you remember the tow company as like another fuck you from the town, because they assumed because I lived in the car I must be a horrible piece of shit. So to just hurt me any way they could when the tow company showed up there. Right there was a giant RV, like twice the size of a normal RV. And it was called a Fore Travel, F-O-R-E Travel, like before travel, and it was nice. I remember seeing it and being like, man, it feels like a dream. And then the tow guy fucking dumped my car half in here and half out, so all these cars coming in would fucking have to outmaneuver my car, and they would all chuck their trash at me. And I would just get into a constant fight with their spirit. Every time they drove by, they would be throwing this negative energy at me. And I would feel it so vividly trapped. And someone got out of the car while I was asleep, put a gun to my head, and then sent that around Facebook. And was like trying to get people to encourage him to do it. And there's no cameras here. So eventually they broke into my car and took everything except what was in my trunk. And then when I finally had a chance to sell the car, I told the cops, thinking it was like a thank you and not to worry about it. because I thought that would be the last time I would speak to them. And they stole the car for themselves and sold all of my belongings and left me to die. And there was supposed to be a giant, imagine we're standing here and just a tornado forms right there and just takes us all with it. Tornado warnings don't last for more than like 8 hours. And a tornado just wiped out a town in New York, like 4 hours from us. But I used to walk around here and freestyle in the winter. I made those videos. And then I get out and fight with the crows. And the high schoolers that would sit over here would rile each other up. And they kept saying the phrase, "One day I'm gonna do it. One day someone's gonna do it." Over at me. I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't you just focus on the amazing view? Why is all your attention going to revving your engine at me? And now that I know that their whole culture is based around satanic rituals, that's why they killed deer and animals for sport. Now I get it. They can't see the view unless they've killed something and tortured it. Capricorn, their whole consciousness is based around the abuse they put others through. Unless you can master it, and then you just become slow moving, slow progress, and hard work to deserve your achievements. Bye.